Between the Reps with Brooke and Jeanna. Between the Reps.
Welcome back to another episode of Between the Reps with Brooke and Jeanna.
We are going to make this a quick one today. I know we always say that, but yes, we are always rushing, just like you out there listening. I'm sure you're rushing to somewhere.
Gosh, what song is there about rushing? It's like a
rushing.
Yes. Old song.
About rushing?
Great. Yeah, I'm going to
just Google song about rushing.
I'm going to.
While you're looking for that, I'd asked you earlier if you had watched The Ultimatum.
I found it.
Oh, what is it?
It's by Alabama.
Oh, I don't know if I'd know that.
I'm just going to play it real quick.
Okay.
And everyone can hear it. It's like, I know this. I know a song. Oh yeah, here we go. I'm in a hurry to get things done. Rushing till life's no fun. All I gotta do is live and die, but I'm in a hurry. Don't know why. Don't know why.
I do know this song.
I had to drive so fast. My car had nothing to lose. Nothing to prove.
Song.
Nothing to prove.
I don't know why that doesn't sound like it's Alabama to me.
Right?
I feel like it's like Jefferson Starship or something. I don't know. Just didn't really fit.
It's because Alabama, you want to listen to like this one. It's about to get real good right here.
Okay. Real loud. From the south,
potato pie and I shut my mouth. Gone with the wind.
Okay, everyone's like, please stop singing.
Or this one.
It's a really long intro.
I know, but it's so good. Okay, here you go. You're going to know it.
Am I?
Yeah.
Music.
There you go.
Like grandpa
used to play.
Why do I know these songs? Well, my dad listened to country growing up, but we listened. I feel like we listened to old country, but we must have like listened to like mostly like 80s country.
Well, yeah, and like
old country and 80s country.
That's what I grew up on.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, it makes sense.
That's why we like the Judds and we like Patty Loveless.
I would know Patty Loveless if I heard a song.
You would 100% know her music. Yeah,
it's like it's the soundtrack to my youth. Whereas like I always joke if I hear like Alice in Chains or Soundgarden or any of those bands, I'm like, oh, this is the soundtrack to my marriage.
Yeah.
It's like all that like grunge rock. I feel like everybody just lived in Portland. I don't know. Didn't a bunch of the bands come out of Portland?
Do you know, I don't know how to pronounce her last name. And like, I knew these songs without knowing who was singing them. Cause like it's like, I grew up hearing them.
Yeah.
But do you know Bonnie Raitt?
Oh, Bonnie Raitt.
Raitt.
Yeah,
oh, yeah.
Bonnie Raitt's awesome.
One of my favorite, this one.
Okay. Oh yeah.
There's a playlist on Spotify that I like to listen to. It's called Neon Cowgirl.
Oh.
And it's got a lot of this stuff. And then it has like more newer stuff. And it has like the 2000s, like Carrie Underwood. But people are talking about people.
You don't want to belt it out in your microphone? Oh yeah, it's a good
just
song.
Like this.
That's a great song. Like your Britney headset on.
Just a little too loud. Like this.
Oh, this is it.
Just a little too close. Long. Maybe they're seeing something we don't, darling.
Something to talk about. I think it was the soundtrack of a movie.
Was it?
Like a 90s movie. Yeah. I think it's called Something to Talk About.
Such a great song.
Yeah, great song. So I feel like the beginning of that song, I just want to like body roll.
Oh yeah.
Like,
I'm pretty sure I was doing that in the bathroom today. I was doing some of this. Just while I was getting ready. Dude.
Getting loose.
Oh my gosh.
You guys, Brooke and I, it was, okay. So this is funny. I was at the gym yesterday and Keely, one of our coaches, Keely, a song came on and she like did a little dance and then I did it back. Oh, and she goes, thank you so much for not leaving me hanging. I was like, oh yeah, of course. Like, you know, you got to help a sister out, you know, somebody does a move. That's what you do. You do it back. I go, it's really weird when you do something and they don't do it back. And I told her, I said, yeah, Brooke and I were just in the bookstore when she was in town. We were walking around and then she starts laughing. And I said, what did you do? You pointed to a book and you did something, but you did it to your boyfriend. And you're like, and I forget sometimes that's not what you know what I'm talking about. I forget sometimes that not everybody knows what I'm doing right now. Just
no, you know what? You know what it was? It wasn't a move. It was definitely
like a sound.
It was body. It was like body language, but it was, I read something on a book.
Yeah.
And it was like a funny title that made me want to go like, like, oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, it is.
And you guys are like, that makes no sense. And I know it makes no sense because I cannot remember exactly what the book title was, but it was something that immediately
made you do a
when I read it back to myself, which I normally, like if me and Jeanna was like away from me, I was meandering. And I immediately did it. And it's like, it's Jeanna and I sometimes, depending on what we're talking about, or maybe I'm going to use the word mocking, but it's not mocking in a bad way. No. It's like we read something or hear something and then we react to it.
Right.
It not only changes like the way we say it, but we also have this like body language.
Facial expression.
And it's like, oh yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people, I don't know. I mean, I'm a woman, so I don't know how men react to each other. I mean, I feel like they probably have like their own things too. I mean, like Daniel, no, like Daniel has all of his little sayings with his boys. Like all of a sudden he'll be like, chit chit. And then you'll hear somebody across like, chit chit. You know, because they think that they're Jason Momoa from C or something. I think he does like chat when they're getting ready to like fight or something. Chat. But yeah, I'm sure that there's some people out there that can recognize like when you're with your bestest friends, having your very own language.
Okay. A couple of things from our last podcast. One, because I've been, me and you, now we're on this thing of like, we're really getting like still do, but for long period of time, still do, reading labels, right? Food labels, constantly like, oh man, can't have that. Oh, can't have that. And, or not, shouldn't. Well, now we're really into reading our labels for food, skincare, hair care, all the things above from the show we watched called Not So Pretty. Well, Todd just messaged me and he goes, check your IG. And he shared something with me. And so I look at it and it goes, oh no, candles. And I read it. Yeah. It says, can you see that?
No, okay,
let me turn my brightness down, see if that helps.
Oh, want me to read it?
Yeah,
Stop using products with artificial fragrance, scented candles, detergents, fabric softeners, aerosol sprays, trash bags. Fragrance is the new secondhand smoke. 72%. Wait. You read the rest. 72%.
72% of fragrance products contain endocrine disruptors. Endocrine. Yeah. Yeah. Something like that. Disruptors. You can't heal if you live in a plume of toxic fumes.
Damn. We can't have anything.
I can't have nice things. I just bought so many candles. I say so many. I bought 3. I just bought 3 candles.
Oh man. Well, I mean, that just means that if it's artificial fragrance, right? I mean, there are some that have just like a friend of mine makes candles. Carl Carl from the gym, which is so cute. He and his wife make candles. And so they gave me a candle and it was all like naturally scented. But man, you can't have nice things. That's what my mom used to always say.
You can't be walking through Target and be like, oh, sale on candles.
Yeah. Nope.
Grab a few. Nope.
No aerosols. We can't clean anything. We can't eat anything. We can't put anything on our bodies.
Guess we're dirty now. Back
to the bunker.
And back to the drawing board. With the search of trying to have, I guess, better products. And I will say, you guys, if you have downloaded those apps or if you've watched the shows yet, I've downloaded them and it's overwhelming, but I've tried to, find products that are better for me. One thing that I tried, which a lot of you probably already do or have tried, I know Jeanna has, but this brand is called Shea Moisture.
Yeah, I love that.
And they have a lot of different stuff. And I remember seeing with different videos I've watched or whatever, when they're talking about like better hair products to buy because of ingredients. This is a brand that I saw. And this is just coconut oil. It's just it says head to toe nourishing hydration, 100% extra virgin coconut oil. So Jeanna's a big fan of coconut oil, applying it when she's in the shower. And I know this because when I've showered at her house, at her old house, I about ate shit a couple of times. Like at least you get in and you're like, just about slip.
I like to add certain levels of danger to my day-to-day tasks. Like, will I get through today?
And also she may have forgotten what danger she's put up.
I set all these booby traps
and I can't remember what they are.
Try to keep the mind sharp.
But I tried putting this. I mean, I put it on in the morning or at nighttime or whatever for moisturizer and on my body. But I also tried putting it in a little bit through like the ends of my hair where my hair was still wet, and then let my hair air dry. Game changer.
Yeah. So I think I've told you before, I've bought just actual coconut oil.
Well, yeah. And I was
like, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh no, you're okay.
If you want it to be less expensive, you can just buy it when it's not made for a beauty product. Just buy it at the store and then lather up. The only thing I found out is that it starts to accumulate in the pipes of your house, which makes sense. So you got to keep the drains clean.
So it's a good thing. It's a good thing you moved out of that rental.
They're like, fuck, just backed the whole place up.
So what was it? What was the problem with the pipes? There was just a huge
ton of coconut
of coconut oil. So I think just run scalding hot water and we should be good.
Which I think the scalding hot water will help to a point, but until it gets out of the house. So I don't know. There's like natural things that you can pour down your drain to kind of like enzymes or something that can eat away. I just don't want to like fuck up all these people's, like if they're not on sewer, like their septic tanks.
Yeah. Hey, so guys, do what I do. Just put it on when you're out of the shower.
Yeah. Don't do what Jeanna does. Yeah. Right. Yeah. No, I used to put coconut oil on my hair and sleep with it. You just got to put a towel down.
Yeah. I haven't done that. I haven't tried that. Probably a good idea. And I had put it on my hair when it was dry a little bit, like through my ends and stuff when it was dry, but I hadn't done it like when it was like towel dried and then just let it air dry. And it really felt great. Felt great.
Felt real good. But yeah, no, I do. I'm a huge fan of the coconut oil. Apparently you can use it for lube too.
Yeah. And it smells good.
It does smell good.
I went and got my nails done this morning. And I'm on the phone with Todd and he goes, so, how does she get it? How does she get the nail polish off? And I go, oh, well, you go to a lot of like your like quick sort of nail salons that are everywhere. And they'll usually, like with gel, they'll file off a layer of it. And then they'll take a cotton ball and they'll fill it with acetone and they'll put it on your nail and cover it up with tinfoil. all the women listening to are like, yeah, they do that.
Yeah, duh.
And then they sit and they scrape it off. I said, or, a lot of people now, but they'll use just like a Dremel, like a drill, and they'll drill off the polish and, skip the whole soaking acetone thing. And he goes, so my next question, right? And I go, no. And he goes, and I immediately was like, yeah. And he goes, are you just breathing it in? Because of the episode, you guys, on Not So Pretty, when they talk about nail techs.
Yeah. And all the chemicals you're breathing in.
And I go, yep.
He's going to have you back to wearing a mask.
Oh, right. I was like, well, I'm like, I know that the type, like where I get them done, she uses I do if any of you haven't tried it or heard of it, it's called Luminary, and it's a builder gel. So it's different than like going and getting, like doing it's no acrylic. It's like what I used to get done in Santa Cruz, and Gina's had it done too, is a acrylic overlay. I don't know if this is different. It's just.
Is it more natural?
I don't know.
I guess not natural.
That's what I haven't
better
looked up,
for you.
I have no idea. Huh. I think it's better for your nail. But I now will need to look up the brand and double check it. And if not, I'm going to go to my nail girl, which happens to be my brother's girlfriend, and be like, hey, I think you should watch this episode. Also, just start wearing a mask when you do people's nails.
Yeah.
Again.
I think that's probably, again.
This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp Online Therapy. Life can be overwhelming, and many people are burned out without even knowing it. Symptoms can include lack of motivation, feeling helpless or trapped, detachment, fatigue, and more. For myself, the feeling of being burnt out is overwhelming, overbearing at certain times. Life is moving so fast. We're constantly trying to adapt to our situation, adapt to new things coming our way, whether that's, some conflict or just changes. Maybe you're moving, changing your job, dealing with kids, school, seasons are changing. It's constantly crazy. Life is crazy, and it's never going to change. It doesn't necessarily get easier. We just get better at adapting. We get better at handling situations. And one way to help you handle these situations and changes is working with someone through BetterHelp Online Therapy. BetterHelp is customized online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions with your therapist. So you don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to. It's so much more affordable than in-person therapy, and you can be matched with a therapist in under 48 hours. This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp and Between the Reps with Brooke and Jeanna Chancharulo. Listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/reps. That's BETTERHELP.com/reps. We all want to turn back the clock. For some of us, it's for vanity. Others, just to relive those glory days. But for me, I would love to just wake up every morning with zero brain fog, a clear mind, and be as energized as I was when I was younger. And I know a lot of you feel the same way. It seems as though those days are gone. I have to live with how I feel these days. But the truth is we don't have to. Thanks to First Person, I can take a more active role in my brain's overall health. First Person supplements made with functional mushrooms that aim to stimulate the body's natural production of specific neurotransmitters that trigger activities like energy, mood, and sleep. They're grown and formulated in the US exclusively by expert mycologists. First Person uses only the highest quality organic, 100% pure, grain and filler-free mushrooms. When I received my product from First Person, I love that it actually gives you recommendations of how to use the supplement. So for me, I was really looking for some energy in the morning and energy throughout the day. And what I chose to do is I stacked Sunbeam and Golden Hour. Sunbeam is for motivation and focus. It's to support productivity, work, learning, and it helps you feel clear, alert, and inspired. Now, I stacked that with Golden Hour, which is for connection and joy, supporting confidence, mood, socializing, long-term memory, and it really helps you feel more confident, present, and open. Start improving your brain health and cognition with First Person. Get 15% off your first order by going to getfirstperson.com/reps. That's getfirstperson.com/reps for 15% off your first order. Getfirstperson.com/reps. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Speaking of health stuff, we had a question and I thought it was interesting. This is from Jen. She wrote, regarding your recent health issues, have you considered breast implant illness as a possible cause? Some of the symptoms you listed fall in line with that. Also, what kind of asshole steals your fucking dog?
Jen, I love you.
Hope you feel better soon.
Yes. I've never considered that, to be honest.
I hadn't considered it either until I read it. I was like, oh.
But I haven't considered it because my blood work and my hormone levels, it's very clear where the issues are.
Yeah.
You know, if it wasn't, then that would be something to be something for me to look into. But I've had breast implants for a really long time. So that would also be kind of weird that it would take so long for me to react to it. And if things don't continue to get better, which they are getting better. And I do my Dutch test next week. So as soon as we get that test back, to see if things are, moving in the right direction, then I'm going to keep going that way. Let's say we get the test back and it's like, I don't know, you feeling shitty because things look like they are better. And if I'm still feeling really, really bad, then, now it's to look for a different culprit maybe.
Got it.
But I haven't thought about it. Also, yeah, assholes, oh God, they're everywhere.
They're everywhere.
Assholes. Everyone's got one. Everyone's got one. Yeah, he's an asshole. And no, I haven't got her back. And yes, I'm still waiting. And I guess it's just part of it. I know there was another person that had written in, I can't find the email. But thank you for writing in, that it said something like they'd heard that it can take up to like 2 years. It's ridiculous.
I know. That's not going to happen.
No.
But
I'll just still her back.
Sounds like it's pretty common.
I'll just still her back if it gets to that point.
Yeah. This one is from Aaron. I've been here since the beginning and I love you guys so much. I've been waiting to write in forever now. I honestly want to thank you for brightening my Wednesdays and making me laugh so much. You always say how the pod doesn't have a theme. I freaking love it and find that most of the other podcasts that I listen to repeat themselves a lot. You both never repeat yourselves, probably because the podcast has no limits or boundaries. Thank you for being so open and funny. It's fucking awesome. Oh, and you are both so kind. Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
We love that. Because we did get like a bad review that said we sounded like mean girls on another one. And I was like, oh, I never want to feel like that.
Yeah, no.
I mean, you are right, Aaron. We don't. So it's like, since we don't have a format or a theme or anything, this is just us talking to each other. And unfortunately, sometimes we don't edit. I mean, we never edit what we're going to say. And so sometimes things can come out without us thinking about it. And then they can sound maybe not very nice.
Dude, I saw this video. I'm going to just do a quick search and see if I can find it again. And it's Elon Musk talking about, okay, I can't find it. It'll take too long. But Elon Musk, and he's talking about the woke culture. And how we need to get rid of it. And it makes a lot of sense because it's creating an environment where it gives people the ability to be angry so easily over things that you don't need to be angry about, and allowing so many outside things, people that like online, if you say something wrong or you make a joke, like he was kind of talking about, like, even like stand-up comedians, it's like the whole thing of like woke culture is like, it's getting rid of comedy.
Right.
And there's no reason for that. It's just, it's having everybody live in like a state of anger.
Right.
And
well, this is what I have a hard time with all of the labels, right? Like even like saying like, is it like, say that you're somebody that wants to change your not opinion. Well, maybe your opinion, or you want to open yourself up to possibilities of things that you didn't know before, right? In our government or in our history or whatever. And by doing that, trying to be a better person or whatever. And as soon as you say something, then you're considered woke, right? Or you say something that's unpopular to somebody else, and then you're canceled. And then, but yeah, so I understand. It's like, if you're trying to further yourself or better yourself, or just, look at certain things. I mean, I can think of certain topics, and it's like, even me right now thinking about the certain topics that I'm thinking about, I'm like,
you're hesitant to say what the topics are.
What it is, because and someone's going to be like, that's bullshit. And it's like, whoa. I'm just trying to sift through all this information and try to figure out what is my responsibility? What isn't my responsibility? What can I do? I'm just trying to be a better person.
Well, and you know what though? It's like with the culture of, let's say, being woke, or then canceling people, it's it's creating an environment that it stops people's ability to evolve, because it's asking for perfection, or what, and when I say perfection, like whatever it is at that time, which happens to be, are you following the narrative? Are you saying what, like, what's the narrative? If you go against it, regardless of the information you have, or the science you've done, or what the research you've done, or whatever, if you say something, that might question or raise a question, whereas in the past, that was good, right? You want to raise questions to get people thinking, and then we you mold and create and recreate.
You bounce things off of each other, but
now it's almost like it's expecting. I'm going to say this, but okay, it's expecting people to already know something that you've taken away the opportunity to learn.
Right.
Like, it's expecting people of all ages to already know. And the issue is it's to already know what that person, let's say the person that's going to like cancel you, it's expecting people to already know what and agree with what you know. And if they don't know and they raise a question, it's like canceled. It's
done.
Like,
you're done.
Well, wait. And it's just
so another stupid. Weird hierarchy. If you think about it, it's like, it's another way of a group of people to say, it's like back in the, oh God, why can't I think of the word? It's like back in the day when it was like wars with religion.
Yeah.
It was like a bunch of Christians coming into, some little island and going, you have to be just like us, and you have to live just like us. And you have to, or else you're, savage, and you're this and you're that, and you're ignorant. And it's like, no. I mean, but it's like the exact same thing is happening now, where it's like a group of people thinking, I'm, so elevated, and I'm so much better than you, and you should think just like me. And if you don't, yet again, you're done.
And it takes away the opportunity to learn.
Right.
Because let's put it in like that. We'll talk about it in, let's say, like a relationship problems. So completely outside of anything that's like really triggering for people.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
A relationship. You got two different people. You think differently as you work and you go through life. Like you've gotten different degrees in school. You've taken different classes. You have different interests. Okay. So if you're in a relationship and your communication is not the best, and you're running into problems. So like now you have a counselor, and now you're doing like relationship counseling to try and like help that. Right. It's a situation where one person, like me and Gina, we're in a relationship, and I go, hey, you said X, Y, Z to me, and it made me feel like this. okay, well now if we're in an environment where we both want to just learn and be better and like work better together, it's not a matter of trying to make one person conform to everything that you want. And there are people out there like that, narcissists. And it's about trying to understand and being willing to be vulnerable, get off of your pedestal and not be, and be willing to consider what the other person is saying, regardless of if you can understand it or not.
Well, it doesn't mean that you have to agree with it.
No, but when you can care about people, right? Humanity, you as the person who's like the finger pointer, you know, and the one who's like, you're bad and you're wrong and you're canceled and blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, if we were in a relationship with each other, that just wouldn't work.
Right.
You know, and anyone from the outside would be able to look at that situation and be like, well, that doesn't work. That's not fair.
Right.
How can this person know what you need if you don't have a calm conversation where you kind of tell them what you need and then you work together to be like, well, I need these and you need those. Well, how can we make this, how can we work together versus like you just expecting me to never say the wrong thing, to
or just conform.
never ask any questions,
right?
Or, well, we have to ask questions because how do we know?
Right.
How will we know? So
it's like our world is just in the midst of a really awful divorce. real shitty divorce.
Man, and it's a long one.
It's a really long one. Long and drug out. Super long and drug out.
And we're sitting here being like, you know, I think about, you know, something that like Jeanna told me. And what's so funny is like probably something I said to her when she was going through her divorce. And then she reminded me when I was just in, you know, severe state of depression and it's ongoing divorce. And it's like taking way longer than it needs to, is this. She goes, you just need time.
Yeah.
Right. It's just more time. And that's
time's not healing. No. Time's not healing this.
We're here like
terrible advice. Advice.
We're like, well, how much more time do we need before we can just like all not all get along, but like not all want to wish terrible things on people.
Just bash each other.
You know?
Yeah, it's pretty awful.
I don't have kids, but I'm on the go all the time. Meaning I don't have a lot of extra time that I put towards prepping food, going to the grocery store, planning out meals before I am ready to cook them. It tends to be really last minute. So something like Freshly has really come in handy for me. You guys, Freshly are fresh, never frozen meals that were created by chefs. They're nutrient-packed meals and they're delivered straight to your door, so no cooking is required. They are ready to eat in just 3 minutes. With Freshly, you can choose from over 50 nutritionist-designed entrees like their classic steak peppercorn, multi-serve sides like their masterful mac and cheese, or their new line of plant-based meals. You get to skip the grocery shopping and dirty dishes. Your meals arrive cooked and fresh every week. Plus, they're adding new meals weekly, so you're never stuck eating the same thing over and over again. Stop stressing about dinner. Right now, Freshly is offering our listeners $125 off your first 5 orders when you go to freshly.com/reps. Again, that's $125 off of your first 5 orders when you go to freshly.com/reps.
But there was a second part to this question. So thank you, Aaron, for that. Question, which I've never thought of this. I just got my second round of Botox. After the first round, I was surprised that there was a gratuity option. I guess it's like tipping your tattoo artist. Do you guys tip and what amount?
Well, man, we may not be the people to follow on this, but
I know. Because I read this and I was like, wait, are we supposed to tip? I'm thinking of years of Botox that I have not been tipping.
You know, okay.
Because I'm a tipper.
Yeah, I am too.
Yeah.
I've definitely like, you know, oh man, I run into the same thing like when you go to get your hair done. Mm-hmm. And I'm not talking like an affordable haircut. Okay.
Right.
I'm talking like when you go and you're trying to figure out like, okay, well, most of this is the cost of the product they used.
Right.
And then this is the cost because they have the fee in there that's for them to do like their time. And it's like, well, how much do I tip on that? I've just given you like my whole paycheck.
Yeah. Right. Right. I know. I always do 20% on a service.
Yeah. I think that with Botox,
but with Botox, I feel like that's not the, I don't know why I don't think it. Now there's probably people out there that
consider this. We could compare this analogy or here's an analogy to compare to the tipping on Botox. When cause you think Botox, right? You go in, it's a pretty quick procedure. Yeah. It's very quick. It's not, it's
not like getting a facial.
No.
Like an hour long.
When you order out for food.
Right.
And you pick up a to-go order, do you tip on that?
I don't. So my sister does.
I have.
Erica does.
But it usually depends on
the situation.
Sometimes when I go to the restaurant, like it's not, if I go and pick up my order and I can see like maybe how busy it is in there, or it's a restaurant where like I've worked in, look at my legs. I'm sitting on the floor, you guys.
Spread 'em.
I've worked in restaurants, a lot of service. So I might see like who's the hostess and I understand how they tip out, right? Like the servers usually tip out to the hostess and the bussers. Mm-hmm. And then you also tip out to the bartender. So I think about things like that. So it really comes into like, well, where did I get food from? Were they super busy waiting tables and also trying to bring me my order and all that? And yes, I'll give them like 10%. Yeah. Yeah. But not a 20%. No, tip. Because it's like all you did is you took my order over the phone and you forgot about me until I picked it up. Yeah. And a tip is for service. Right. So if you go to a restaurant and you sit down and eat, and the way you're supposed to tip is like 20%. And then if you do alcohol, usually it's, you'll tip a little bit more. At least that's, the rule of thumb, I suppose. Right. You sit down, you tip 20% and you're there. You could be there for an hour. You could be there for 2 hours. And when you order food over the phone and you show up, pick it up, they didn't have to do anything for you because you're not being served. The kitchen usually puts everything together and then they just give it to you and they take your money. It's like, well, what percent would I tip you then if 20% is for like you serving, the whole experience, the whole experience of being there and eating versus like, what percent would I tip if you didn't do any of that? And that's what I think about. Like, if I go in and pick it up and I can like check my surroundings and like, just kind of see what kind of an environment it is for that person who is able to get this food to me. I might tip a little bit. And then when I get home and if all my stuff's not in the bag, I get real pissed. I ask for my tip back. Hey, can I have that back? Can I have that tip back? Well, yeah. So Aaron, I don't know. I don't tip on Botox. I would tip on a facial. I haven't even tipped on like laser treatments. Me neither. They're just so expensive. They are. So even like we get it, even when I get a deal, I'm like scraping by just to make that. So, well, and here's the thing with laser treatments. Okay. Oh, well, okay. I take that back. I was going to say, here's the thing with laser treatments. And that just makes me sound like I'm actually a technician and I use lasers. No, but what I understand is like the big cost for them is the purchase of the laser. So we're paying a shitload of money and it's an expensive treatment and the machinery was very expensive, but there's not every time you go to the laser treatment and you use the laser, it's not like they're also being charged a bunch of money every time they use the laser. No, they bought the machine. They own it. Right. They're just like paying it off. Yeah. They're paying it off. Yeah. So. Yeah. I don't know. Should we ask April? Yeah. April, if you're listening to this, if you think we're giant assholes, how about you let us know? April's like, yeah, you fuckers. April's like, fuckers. You guys. When April's done house calls for us, we usually have charcuterie and wine. We're like, she's like, yeah,
Yeah, that's a tip.
Comes over and we're like, we'll feed you and here's some wine, and then just prick.
And you guys, April is like, honestly, like one of the sweetest women you'll ever meet. Like she's like, you could, I've taken her to dinner before because she's been so kind to me and, you know, helped me out and stuff. And every time she just acts like it's just like so far beyond what I should be doing. And I'm like, dude, you've saved me. Like, just keep my face looking good, please. But yeah, no. So yeah, April, if you're listening, let us know if we're typically supposed to be doing that. And if we haven't been, sorry.
We haven't been.
Oopsie daisy.
Well, we'll start.
Yeah. Yeah. No, actually, no, we won't.
She just
have no money.
I know. I was going to say was we'll consider starting.
I'd be happy to, I don't know, do your laundry. I'll do your laundry.
We just start leaving like when little kids for Mother's Day, when
like
you're a little
notes?
kid. Yeah. Like you leave like,
good for one.
like free massage, a hair brushing, you know, or
brush your hair, April.
A manicure.
That would be such a weird thing to do to somebody you didn't know. Erin, next time you get Botox, just write out a coupon for hair brushing.
Dude, how funny would it be too if like you're
20
checking
minutes
out
of hair brushing and just leave it.
How funny would it be too if you're checking out, right? And you're like, you feel really good about your coupons you've made, and you sign your thing, and then you take one out and you put it down, like you're sliding $100 bill over, and you're like, you slide it over like you're passing a note in class, and they flip it over, and it's like free 30-minute hair brushing. And you're like, hey, save that for yourself. Don't be giving that away. Worth a lot.
Oh God,
man, can you imagine if like you did that and you had so many coupons out there just floating around?
Oh yeah, you
just started getting phone calls like, I'm here to
just all at once. I got so much shit to do. I've been doing. Oh, you know, just
I got to brush a lot of hair.
A lot of coupons turned in this week. Dude, it's like you see the like, have you ever seen the coupon books that you can give to like your husband?
Yeah.
They're like sexy things.
Yeah. Yes.
I gave one of those to Nico one time, and I just remember like the whole time just being like, please don't turn one in. Please don't turn one in. You know what I mean? Like, good for one blowjob.
I picture
4 o'clock in the middle of the day. No,
just ripping it out like you're ripping you're ripping a check out of your checkbook. Like, I've got the golden ticket. I've got the golden ticket.
I'm like, I just gave it because it was cute, and it was something else for your stocking. I wasn't going to actually do any of it. Oh,
you
God.
Just go in with like a void stamp and stamp all of them.
Yeah. Every time I'm mad, just take another one out.
Void
Rip it up, throw it out. Oh my God.
Okay. What was that? Are you have another question?
Oh yeah. Okay. This is from Ashley. I've been listening to you guys from the beginning. Recently started listening to an old podcast at work, and it has me LOLing. My husband has walked into me listening to you guys while I'm cleaning, and he thinks Jeanna is hilarious. Well, thank you. Thank you. We love all your random stories. Brooke, what is your thought on CrossFit and where it is headed? With the Open and games coming up, there's always talk about athletes being on steroids. There's been retired, in quotes, athletes come out saying coaches tell athletes to take steroids, that it's a steroid culture, which to me makes it a little not fun to watch, thinking they really are only good because they take so many steroids. Interesting to see how CrossFit will impact our bodies long term.
Okay. Well, where do I start? Okay. To be completely honest with you, I literally pay a zero attention to CrossFit since not competing. And I was like that with when I had to sit out from my cervical fusion, I unfollowed everyone that had anything to do with CrossFit. Because I was emotionally I was very upset.
Yeah, not because,
it was very hard. Yeah. It was a very hard reality, very big, hard pill to swallow. Mm-hmm. But since not competing, for me, it was like, well, I only cared to watch it if I was really invested in somebody. And I think, it's different for people that are like competing in the sport too. It's like you have all these guys like football, right? NFL, you got diehard fans.
Yeah.
It's like, and they don't play. They're not playing. they're diehard fans. I always think like, aside from sports where you would watch tape on a team to like prepare, for me, it's like, well, I wasn't like a big fan of people. I was fan for people, like a fan of you as a person, but I wasn't a fan to like watch you compete. Like I competed and I worried about myself. And I mean, it's as an individual athlete, not a team athlete, but as an individual athlete, I could.
So you never like watched other people to kind of like see what your competition was like?
No, because I mean, I knew what my competition was like. Mm-hmm. And to me, it was like, well, no amount of me watching them to figure it out is going to make me better. So
mm-hmm. Yeah.
But so no, I haven't really been paying attention to that. In fact, it's really mind blowing to hear that. I mean, I would love to know what retired athletes have come out and said that. You should send us an email. Even if we won't say their names on the podcast. I would like to know, because I've never heard that. I always thought this, like people still love to look at me and be like, oh, steroids. And I'm like, oh, really? I'm just broken. The steroids aren't working. I'm not getting better. I'm getting worse. But I remember thinking, cause I watched it and I was around, I did CrossFit, but I was around enough to know certain athletes, but never like a little bit before I was on the floor with them. And what I started to notice is like, you saw the same, not so much anymore, but I've been out of the game for a while. You saw the same people, like the same competitors, same top 20 was always the same. And a lot of them were people that had been doing it for years. And so they were growing, in my mind, this is my hypothesis, they're growing with the sport. Every year, the bar was slightly raised. Every year, people that were competing and coming back all the time, they never stopped training. So they're constantly training with the intention of competing. And, over time, you're going to, obviously genetics play a huge role, but you're going to get fitter, stronger, faster. It's not like, to me, it was like, it just makes sense that at this point you have outsiders coming in that are new to observing the sport, and they're going to see these guys like, oh, bullshit. And it's like, well, you don't understand. Like, we already know that, like, for someone to look at me and be like, that's all fake. It's like, well, you don't have a hardworking bone in your body, and you have no idea how long I've been training day in and day out, working out, not just to like get some exercise, but like with the intention of competing. So it's different. And I always thought to myself, they should be, and I think they do now, but I'm like, they should be testing regional level athletes, because they do, but only when I was competing, it was if you qualified. So the first time I ever got tested was at regionals when I qualified for the games. And once you get put into that testing pool, you're in it forever.
You stay in it. Right?
Dude, I still get emails. I still get the email that says like, you have to send your whereabouts in.
No.
And I stopped sending them in. I'm like, for a long time, we kept doing it because I wasn't sure. I think I was lying to myself, but I wasn't sure if I was done,
Right.
And now I'm like, like, you're going to come find me and waste your money to test me. I'm just over here, like, can't get out of bed in the morning, hurting. It takes me like an hour to get my body to function properly, to like
working out with your nephews in your mom's gym.
But I always thought to myself, like, what makes the most sense if there, I know that there is, and I don't know for a fact, I don't know anyone who has used or is using, but it would be dumb of me to still be wearing. And I say still, because back in the day, I always looked at some of the people that were like worked at CrossFit, but and people that were just like around it all the time or really invested, but weren't like competing. I always thought to myself, they just were wearing rose-colored glasses all the time. And I just kind of always thought the people, if it was happening, it would be regional level athletes. We don't have regionals anymore. So it would be some of these like new up and comers who wouldn't, maybe they're, for you to be good at CrossFit and I think be competitive at it, as an adult, because hasn't been around that long, that like the teens division has really blown up, right? You had to have come from a sport. You had to have had a background, collegiate, even like high school, but like something that you've worked and developed, whether it was like a track and field or wrestling or gymnasts or something that gave you a lot of natural strength, or ability to learn new skills quickly or get stronger. Like no just Joe Schmo is going to just hop in and then all of a sudden be like, oh my God, like who knew you were an incredible athlete? Right. And it's like year 1, year 2 of doing CrossFit. And now they're the CrossFit Games. No, that's not going to happen, because when you look at the athletes that have been there a long time, they grew with the sport. Back in the beginning, they weren't lifting weights that they're lifting now, because that's where the bar was. And then as athletes get stronger, a whole year under your belt of training and working out with the intention of, going to the big show, you're getting stronger. They had to raise the bar. You have to like different skills, bringing in different types of things, peer paddle, a lot of boring stuff like the rowing and stuff that can be really hard to show on television, on video, but you start adding in all these extra things. Now, if you have someone who's wanting to go to the big show and they don't want to wait, they don't want to put in 5, 6, 7 years of hard training to get their body to the point where they could handle not only the volume, but handle the type and the amount, pure volume of intensity of training that you have to sort of function at year round to be able to be ready to compete at the highest level. Well, then what would you do? You'd probably cut some corners if you could, and it would kind of speed up the process. And for a lot of people, even for myself, like I don't look at people that do like take, PEDs, performance enhancement drugs, look at them and think like, oh, you're the worst. You're bad. No, I don't. But what I didn't like was the idea of being in a sport, or I wouldn't like this, like the idea of being in a sport where it's not allowed, but there could be people that are using because they like morally, that doesn't bother them. And morally it bothers me. So I really liked when they increased the amount of testing, and, years back, I think they were increasing the protocol of like testing more regional athletes and testing more sporadically. But, it wouldn't blow my mind to find out that there are some people situations like that, or that they are. It wouldn't blow my mind. It'd more so be like, it'd probably piss me off that I don't know if I get so much anymore. Probably just because I'm on social media way less, and I'm not as, I'm not as strong as I used to be. And I hate saying that, but it's the truth. But it's like, I'm going to be honest with you. I kind of lost my train of thought right there.
I watched it happen. I watched it. It was like right there. And then it just went right off the screen.
Yeah. The brain fog is real.
Yeah. So basically what you're saying, so what she's saying is that,
where do I see it going?
She feels like it's not as well, not as much that, but she's saying, which to me, it makes it a little not fun to watch. They really are only good because they take so many steroids. I would say that that's probably not, like when you're watching the games or something like that, you're not assuming that everyone's on steroids.
No,
which is kind of like this assumption.
What I would say is this. I can tell you how I feel about it. So not everyone's going to obviously feel the same way as me. Have I ever taken steroids? No. Do I take them? No. I also don't compete. And I'm just trying. And a big reason why I stopped competing is because like after my cervical fusion, my shoulders got pretty problematic because I had so much atrophy happen in my upper body because I couldn't work out for a long time. I went under a really intense surgery. And then when that happened and my shoulders got smaller, I all of a sudden had more issues and inflammatory issues, just tears in my labrums and things like that. Now, those are all things you can live with, especially if they're not symptomatic. But for me, my shoulders were super unstable. My left one was the worst. And I wanted to go in and have surgery done and get them fixed. And, the doctor was like, my surgeon was like, there's no way. I was like, I just need to be able to be working out by September. And this was like shortly after my cervical fusion. And he said, there's no way. I don't even know if I could get you into surgery right away, because with my cervical fusion, there's a lot of rules where, because you needed, like, I couldn't bend forward. You obviously can't turn your head. And so to him, it was like, I don't even know if I could put you on the table for a while until that's more fused and healed. So what he said, he's like, well, if you can handle, you'll be doing PT anyways for up here, which is right there by your shoulders. So if you're doing PT and you can kind of control the inflammation and you can deal with a little bit of pain, I think you'll be okay. But I came, and so I did that. But then they had some events at regionals that year I came back, which was 2018. And that really fucked me up. My shoulder. So I came out of regionals 2018, couldn't raise my arms out to the side, couldn't put my arms over my head or brush my hair. My shoulders were so bad. And this was just from, really just prepping for regionals that year, because there were some events they had that were very hard on me. The handstand, there was the first year they had the handstand walking obstacle course. I had spent a lot of time preparing myself to do a handstand, and I hadn't been doing any bench pressing. And that's the year they put bench in regionals. And there was just a lot of stuff. And so I came out of regionals. I ended up doing stem cells in my shoulders and had planned to get back to training as soon as I could. But then as, time went on and there was like confusion on what the season was going to look like with CrossFit, they were making a lot of changes that fall. I decided to not rush my recovery, because here's the thing is like, I love being fit in the gym. I love being fit in like CrossFit stuff. It makes me feel super badass. I love Olympic lifting. I genuinely love all of that, but I also really love doing activities and trying new athletic things and new sports and doing things for fun. And so for me, it was, I'm going to be done because I'm dealing with all these things and it's not going to get better. If I did have shoulder surgery or whatever, or I just did the PT and tried to heal it, well, for me to, again, work out at the volume that I would need to keep, gain back everything that I lost and get me back up on the playing field of those going to the CrossFit games. That's not how everyone should work out. That's why it's like, even me and Jeanna, it's like you go to the gym and you've got people that are never going to go to the CrossFit games, like right. Never. And that's okay. And they're in there doing, following different programs that are popular. And we're thinking, and I, at this time I was competing. I wasn't injured. And I'm looking at the volume they're doing. And I'm thinking like, what are you doing?
Right.
Like they were even these like barely regional level athletes doing more volume than I was. And I'm like, that's
going to be real detrimental.
It's a recipe for disaster.
Right.
I always try to think about the saying of like, too much of anything isn't good for you, so with CrossFit, it's like, long-term effects for people that are really just trying to chase that aren't going to be positive. I mean, look at the length of a career for like an NFL player. It's like what, like 4 years?
I have no idea. It's not
long,
right.
And it's very hard on your body, very hard on everything like that. And here's the thing, if you want to do it, like even myself, do it. But people that are choosing to compete like that and continue to do it, that's a choice they've made. And that's something that they really love and they really want to invest their time into it. And everyone has the right to do that. Just as like, for me, it's more important for me to feel healthy physically, mentally, all the above in the rest of my life than to just try and like maybe get back to the CrossFit games because, you know, so many people want to see me there again. It's like, well, if I do that, I mean, I'm really, you're taking a chance. It's playing with fire for how you're going to feel coming out of it. Now, people that are using steroids, now I will, it's like the way I'm going to speak about it makes it sound like I know so much about it. I don't, but there are all kinds, right? So we tend to lump everything into one word, steroid, but there's a lot of things that are steroids that aren't performance enhancing, like birth control, steroid, vitamin D, steroid, a lot of things that are steroids. Okay. So
hydrocortisone cream.
Yeah. Steroid. So there's a lot of things that fall into that category. Now, remember with CrossFit, it is, I guess what they would potentially be doing or taking, I don't know all the different stuff that people I have no idea. I only know one word and, I only know it from like years back training at like a conventional training gym, which is Anavar. Anyways, there's a lot of different things that were in that category. I could see, I mean, even for myself, man, when I was competing, my coaches were my everything. So if there's something that's not a scary word or something that's a PED, but it's like, seems like it shouldn't be, like, it seems like it shouldn't be on that banned list. It could be really easy to, if you're really invested to your coach, so that you're saying like these people saying that certain coaches are telling their athletes to do it. It could be really easy for those people to be like, yeah, okay, whatever you say, you know, and that's a bummer. And I guarantee that happens because I just know how much my relationship with my coaches was, they could tell me the bad things about how my performance went and the good things. And it didn't matter. I took it well, no matter what, because there was just this relationship with that person or those people that is like you are, you know everything kind of.
Yeah.
And that's not healthy. So I would love to find out, you know, who the people are that have said like, this is what's going on. As far as what it might look like moving forward, they'll obviously, I guarantee, you know, continue to test and people will potentially get popped. And if it's not interesting for you to watch anymore, like I totally understand. And I mean, I don't watch. So,
yeah.
But yeah, and it's again, like what I would say is I would always assume that it's the people that are newer, you know, that haven't put in years and years of compound affecting training to get to where they are.
Well, and I think that if you love watching it, I think you should still watch it. I mean, the amount of volume that these athletes are doing to get to that point is impressive regardless.
Yes. And that's
the way I would look at it.
I was going to say that too, is the fact that like, regardless of what people they took or they didn't take, and it's all this kind of like maybe accusations, but we don't know. Just because you take something, nothing is so magical that you don't have to do anything. I mean, they are still putting in hours and hours of hard work, you know? So I would urge you to like, if you find out someone or you speculate someone is using something to make them bigger, faster, stronger, or whatever, just don't forget that like so much of how they got there wasn't completely based on that.
Right.
And that's actually also where it's like, it almost is like maybe have some empathy for the person if like you really feel like those things are really bad. Cause, you know, and maybe there was they didn't believe they could do it without it. I don't know, but you know, it's not going to hurt my feelings if you don't watch it. And yeah. And again, I would love to know the, you know, retired athletes that have come out and they're outing coaches. It's funny.
Yeah, I know. I haven't heard that either.
All right. Jeanna's got to go.
I got to go, guys. But thank you so much for listening.
To the ranch.
Go to the ranch, girl.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks so much for listening. Don't forget to
rate, review, subscribe, 5-star rating, 5-star warning.
And we'll talk to you guys next week.
Yeah.
Bye.